Mission complete on Bourbon Street. From snow and sleet to Bourbon Street. The French Conquest.
What up there, P. Fox, my man? How you doing, Parker?
In the house, Monday morning, beautiful. We got back-to-back wins. It's always a good Monday morning when the Gophers and the Vikes win.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah, it's a good way to wake up on Monday.
So your weekend coming up. We're not Parker Fox, basketball player for Ben Johnson's Golden Gophers football team, and a weekly contributor to 9 to Noon and the Power Trip Morning Show. Great to have Parker in the family. The same Parker who you heard with Max Fuller after Wolves games going, who? And those boys were having a good time.
Too much fun.
It was great. So with the game yesterday, you were there with Dawson Knox. Thank you very much for introducing him to me, and I loved our conversation. Likewise for your fiat. Also meeting your girlfriend, Taylor, and Maddie. Who'd I meet?
Grace Zumwinkle.
Zumwinkle, yes. That's right. Yeah. And we talked about Maddie Kaiser, who skated at Holy Family for Randy Couples, a dear friend of mine. That's where the Maddie came from. Well, that was cool, getting to hold that heavy-ass trophy, the PWHL trophy. Holy cow, that's a heavy trophy, man.
Yeah, that thing's beautiful. It comes in that beautiful green Tiffany case that they have. So, yeah, they had it pretty good. You know, I was trying to, when they said they were going to the game and they had field access before the game, I was like, maybe I can sneak in with you guys, but had to go bump heads with you up in the, the press box. That was there, sweet. Which was just as good for me. But, no, it was super fun for them to be there, get honored at the game. They got to hang out with Mike Conley, our Timberwolves point guard in their suite. So all around, just a beautiful day, and obviously to top it off with the win is nothing better.
So in the portal and NIL era, correct me if I'm wrong here, but like you and Dawson could not have sat in the iHeartMedia suite pre all this, right?
No,
even if it's like, hey man, like you couldn't be given seats to that suite that includes like some food and stuff like that. That couldn't happen, right?
Couldn't be given anything.
Wow.
Like
not even like a ticket to the game.
No, you go back to like the there was that one player on Wisconsin back in the day who was a pretty good player. I can't remember his last name. First name was Nigel, but really good player, and he couldn't afford dinner some nights. Wow. And it was like, there's no situation where he can even eat dinner if he wanted to eat dinner. And it's like so there's some good sides of that NIL, and I know we often talk and there's different opinions on the NIL and obviously that's a whole nother conversation, but this is obviously I think it's a win-win for both parties. It's a win-win for me because I'm a Vikings fan. I would love to be at US Bank Stadium and cheering on the Vikes, and obviously I'm a Paul Allen fan and I get to watch you operate, and that's tremendous for me. And then I think twofold for you guys is just like to get the iHeart space, obviously Gopher supporters and fans to be able to interact with each other and whoever it is in that space. It's a win-win for both parties.
Did you happen to cut any deals for some future Parker Fox operations post-college?
I'm always working, PA.
Bro, you were chatting with everybody in that suite. You were either recruiting NIL money for yourself or Dawson, or you were thinking about post-basketball. But the suite right next to the box, really, really cool. So you're an elite football mind. Did you, but you're also a Minnesotan who has been a Vikings fan for quite some time, so this is just an example or an analogy. It may be deeply rooted in you. Well, I'm not going to say anything about the kicker because we remember Blair Walsh and Gary Anderson, and you can just never get too high on a kicker if he wears purple and gold, even though Reichert never misses. Did you ever think the Vikings were losing yesterday?
No, I think I said it to somebody when I walked into the stadium. I was like, well, my first game in here this year, obviously everybody's first game in here. I thought the energy was good. We obviously talked about, we beat the Giants, but I thought we looked incredible against the Giants. And then, Brian Flores completely backed that up for me. I thought that was one of the most complete games I've ever seen Brian Flores operate and coach. Obviously, my Gopher guy, Blake Cashman, was awesome. So I think just across the board, it was, it was one of those games where you just take care of business. You get a team like San Francisco coming in. There's a lot of red in the crowd yesterday, as you saw yourself.
About 10,000.
Yeah, there was. And that's a good team, but we're a good team too. And I thought, the vibes were high that game. And I love the way we went out and played and really just took care of business.
But think about what you just said. You said yes, I know I never thought the Vikings were going to lose. And that's not homerific into the game. That's after watching some of the game. It's like, wow, we're the right side here. Yeah. And secondly, you said, well, it was just a business venture. That's taking care of business. That's checking boxes, crossing T's and dotting I's. Well, you're talking about the 7-win operation from last year against the team that went to the Super Bowl with Big Brain Brock and Debo and all those guys. So what you just said, I mean, that's like a business trip. Nothing personal, it's business. On to the next one. Wow. It's come to that for the 2024 Minnesota Vikings.
And I think it has. And I think, I think in this game, we got away from the business a couple times. Obviously, that interception across the middle of the field when we're nearing the red zone by Sam Darnold, that wasn't business decision. That's, a guy trying to make a play, maybe, make a safer one, hand the ball off, something like that. But I think that's what this team is going to be. I think this team is going to be, we might not be the most, talented group in the world, but we're going to come out and Sam Darnold might not be a guy that solidified himself in the NFL yet, but he's going to come out and take care of business every single day. I think we've already seen through 2 games that KOC has full trust in Sam Darnold and he hasn't really dulled anything down. You throw a 97-yard bomb to Justin Jefferson. That's not dulling anything down. That's trusting your quarterback and putting it in his hands to make a play. So I think this team has a lot of potential to go places that they want to go, but it starts as a team. And I think if you watched on social media, there's some videos of them singing in the locker room post game. And I saw somebody quote tweet it or quote exit, whatever you call it now, and say this is the most connected Vikings group I've ever seen. And
nobody says quote X'd. Yeah, nobody says hey, did you read my X? Nobody says that.
The quote post?
The quote?
Yeah.
Is that what it is now, Dordo?
I have no idea.
It's stupid. What do you have up your sleeve over there?
Well, no, I was just going to ask, whether it's Darnold, you mentioned most complete performance by Brian Flores. I'm thinking about it from you on the hoop side of things where an elite offense can spark energy on defense, or an elite defensive moment or stretch can spark confidence on the offensive side. In one ways, did they pair together that way in terms of you see Flores's group? Okay, now Darnold goes out. Massive time of possession disparity really in both games at times. But that defense in a hot and humid building, you were probably there sweating as well.
Man,
yeah, it was awful. But the confidence and the energy kind of driving them through because the pairing of the offense and defense is so good right now.
Well, yeah, I think that's the beauty of sports. And you mentioned for basketball, it's the same way. And I think we even saw it kind of, the opposite way when it came to the 49ers. I talked about that interception over the middle of the field. That kind of, the energy in the room was so high at that point. If we go down and score or at least get a field goal, like the energy was flowing and it was completely reversed in that moment. And then, the San Francisco came down. I think they ended up scoring, getting in the end zone on that after that interception, didn't they?
It was their first touchdown.
Yeah, so I think you talk about energy, and that's it right there, Nordo. It's all across the board. But at the end of the day, the Vikings had more of that. They dominated when it came to just some of the stuff they wanted to do offensively, and that energy is just infectious. I think, but that's what happens when you have a connected group, right? And obviously, football is a lot different than basketball when it comes to, a 53-man roster versus a 15-man roster and, a defense versus an offense. And maybe, Pat Jones isn't as tight with Christian Darrisaw or whatever it may be. But this group seems pretty connected. And I think that energy is kind of bouncing off of each other. And it obviously resulted in a win over the San Francisco 49ers.
Can you feel that when you're facing an opponent and they're good, but they just don't have it? And can you see or feel that frustration when it's like everything that we do so well, it ain't working today, and the Niners are battle tested, and ultimately because of our own mistakes, they were in it right till the end. But in some ways, I got to wonder if at one point the Trent Williams of the world, Fred Warner doing everything he can to keep the Niners in the game. At one point, they're just thinking, we don't got it today, and there's nothing that we can do to stop the purple from beating us.
Yeah, I think the Vikings were just too much. You go and look at the box score, and it's Brock Purdy was 28 for 36 for 319 yards, a touchdown and interception. And you think, okay, that's a pretty solid game. Let's see what the running back did. Oh, Jordan Mason had 100 yards and a touchdown. Okay, that's a pretty solid game. Deebo Samuel had 8 catches, 110 yards. George Kittle, 7 catches. Fred Warner, 9 tackles, 7 solo. You go across the board, this is a pretty good game, but it was just too much from the Vikings. And I think, obviously, you saw Brian Flores and Brock Purdy post-game, and that little interaction was so sweet to me. But I think that's the biggest thing is we were just too we were too much for them. And I think not a lot of people thought that we were going to be too much for this 49ers team going in. But
you shouldn't.
We proved it from the jump.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't either. I mean, I got asked a million times this week, what do you think of the game? And I said, it's going to be a tightly contested game because I knew the Vikings could beat them, but I'm not going to disrespect the 49ers. And I just thought the game would be tightly contested. Well, when you talk about wreaking havoc or the Purdy-Flores exchange, how about this? Late third quarter and the domination of San Francisco's offense and specifically Brock Purdy. How about this stretch? This is late third quarter. Purdy hits Kyle Juszczyk for 8 yards. Okay. Then these plays are all in succession. Hits Juszczyk for 8, then sack, Metellus pick, sack, 22-yard hit to Ayuk, sack fumble to Jihad Ward. I mean, it's Juszczyk for 8, sack, Metellus pick, sack, 22 to Ayuk, sack fumble to Jihad Ward.
Wow.
I mean, that's late third quarter, man. Just when you think you, because it was like just envision a boxing match and the tomato can, the team that's going to lose, the boxer that's going to lose is a little woozy and a little punch drunk. Well, it's Mama said, knock them out. I'm going to knock you out. And they had an opportunity when they got down by the 20, Darnold interception. They had a kick that buried the 49ers. Dallas Turner goes to rolling in the end zone, or the ball goes into the end zone. Aaron Jones on a screen inside the 5. Here he goes. Oh, he dropped it at the 2-yard line. Niners ball. It's like the boxer was just one jab or one uppercut from going 9-eye, and the Vikings just could not deliver it until late.
Yeah, I mean, this could have been a uglier game, really. Right. Like, I think that, like you said, that Dallas Turner one kind of hurt. There was that fumble. Like, this could have been even uglier than it was. But I think that's that winning time, right? That's that third quarter where you mentioned those drives and the sacks, the interception, the fumbles. Like, end of the third quarter is when winners come out and play, because the end of the fourth quarter, you might need a kicker to make a field goal. Yeah, you might need a big defensive stand, but that third quarter, when it's time to buck up and try to win football games, that's when the Vikings, I think that's when they stood on their head. And excuse me if I'm wrong, but Blake Cashman's got the microphone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Blake's got the microphone.
In the business, we call it the green dot. Just like in your business, we call him Dawson Garcia, not Dawson Knox. Yeah. And I apologize for that.
There you go.
Who is Dawson Knox?
Tight end
Buffalo Bills tight end.
I thought, well, who's Dawson? Isn't there a Kincaid?
Dalton Kincaid.
Kincaid. Dalton, wow.
He's another. They just drafted him, but
we got Dalton Schultz, Dawson Garcia, Dalton Kincaid, and Dawson Knox.
Yeah.
Wow. Damn, that sounds like some country western show featuring John Wayne and Little House on the Prairie with all those names.
Yeah, they're going to be headlining.
I'd watch it for Nelly.
Hey, how loud was the stadium on that JJTD? I was on my couch and I was there for the miracle in early 2018 when Diggs gets to the house. Did the lid completely get lifted?
Yeah, I ran right out of the box.
I saw you. You're so weird. And then you were right behind me. It was weird.
I sprinted out because I was like, this is going to be a Paul Allen classic. I got to hear what he has to say. I was thinking, what's going to be going on here in the box next to me? And I didn't say anything to anyone. I was in my seat. I saw it and I took off. And I was like, let's go see what's happening. But it was so loud. And their team was getting represented on the field. Mm-hmm. So she was literally in the back of the end zone, got the video of Justin Jefferson grittying right in front of her camera. Like perfect. So I think it was a pretty special moment for the house that night. That's for sure.
Well, it would have been louder. It could have been louder, but people were starting to get a little melted down because of how hot and humid it was in there. Of course, whomever directed those at US Bank Stadium to not turn on the air conditioning,
I always love that one.
So Trent Williams and Brandon Ayuk and some other 49ers who complained to Blake Cashman after the game saying, why is it so, is it always, no, it's not always like this. Well, why is it now? Well, you guys went to the Super Bowl last year.
I always
Blake
love
did
that
not
one.
say that, but I've never felt anything like that at US Bank Stadium. I've been there for days it was humid. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying Trent Williams and Brandon Ayuk were not in shape.
No, they weren't.
They will be in shape, but they weren't in shape. And there are some other Niners that there may have been some intel that, their conditioning, may have left a little to be desired. So it behooved the home team to have it steamy and hot, so the adversary got gassed, and it was steamy and hot, and the adversary got gassed.
I love it. The Vikings, we could take a little heat, right? We can take a little heat.
I think there's a hidden MVP in this thing that nobody's ever going to know about. That's Parker Fox, who plays basketball for Ben Johnson's Golden Gophers basketball team. Final week of the season for the Lynx. I don't know if you're going to watch this week or caught Liberty yesterday, but postseason on the horizon. And they're set to catch the Phoenix Mercury in the first round, and then they'll beat Phoenix. They're better than Phoenix. But how much of this will you watch and or follow? I'm certainly hoping time adds up for me because I'm all in on it.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be, there's two games left, something like that.
Yep.
We're at Connecticut, then we're home against the Sparks. So,
that's right.
Yeah, it's going to be a good, finisher. I hope I can get Taylor to get us some tickets here to get ourselves in Target Center here for the playoffs. I think anybody that's a fan of hoops knows that playoff basketball is pretty fun across the board.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I think it would be tough for us to play Indiana schedule wise, but that would be a fun one, obviously. No, I'm excited to watch. I think this year the Lynx have proven themselves as arguably the best team in this league. Obviously, you have the Liberty and the Aces, but this is a really good team. I'm excited to see what they can do down the stretch and hopefully bring another championship to Minnesota. We're in need of them, man. We want as many as we can get.
It's kind of weird because Nafisa Collier had like a foot thing earlier in the year, and then she was involved in the Olympic mix and who's going to be the beneficiary of that break and everything. She's been fantastic out of the break. Team's been awesome. Caitlin Clark, who a lot of people were frustrated that was left off the Olympic squad, who's benefited more from that time off than she has. Yeah. She's absolutely exploded. But this run, man, they've only lost once since the Olympic break. It was to the lowly Dallas Wings. Like they have absolutely catapulted up. Really stemming back to when they won the Commissioner's Trophy or the in-season tournament bit. They've just been on an absolute heater for nearly 3 months now.
Yeah, I mean, they've won 14 of their last 15, and they've had a team that seems like they're motivated going into this playoffs. I think you want to peak at the right time. We talk about this is a baseball time where we want to see the Twins peaking. They're not. This is a time where we want to see the Lynx peaking, and they are. And Nafisa Collier's leading that with 20 points a game and 10 rebounds, and she's been just tremendous. So I think this team has a lot of potential. Yeah, they don't have that, that Maya Moore feel that they had in the day, that Simone Augustus feel that they had in the day, but
with Lindsay running the point, how about that squad?
Yeah, oh my goodness. But this is a different team, but I think they're so solid across the board, and they seem to win basketball games. Like we said, 14 of their last 15. This is a team that's going to be dangerous when it comes to the playoffs here.
Now, at Parker Fox 24 via Twitter, at Parker Fox 24, if you'd like to follow him, as 9 to Noon does. P. Fox nice enough to join 9 to Noon each and every Monday right around this time. Bryce Young, quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. You're familiar?
Oh yeah, of course.
I mean, I think he threw 36 times yesterday, something like that, 26-36. Into yesterday's game against the Los Angeles Chargers, Young had not thrown a touchdown in 80 consecutive passes. All right. Now that went back 2 games last year. So I think they got shut out, and then they got whooped in their first game by New Orleans, who proved to be kind of legit with what they did to Dallas.
No doubt.
But Young didn't throw one again yesterday. I think my man's gone 116 consecutive passes as a first overall pick in the draft with Adam Thielen on your team. 116 consecutive without throwing a touchdown pass. So, I guess the way I'd frame it up for you is, now you don't know the guy, you don't know how he handles conflict. Maybe he hides himself. Maybe he's maybe he's an I got mine type, or who knows how Bryce Young handles all this. Mm-hmm. But when anybody in athletics loses confidence and they can't get it back, it's over.
Oh, it's way over.
It's all, but that can't be the case for this kid this young in his career, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's tough. You talk about a young guy that, you want him to perform, but then it's like, okay, can I get some help from elsewhere, Chuba Hubbard has 64 yards, Miles Sanders 20 yards, Tommy Tremble 23 yards. Like where there's no yards here. Yards aren't coming from anywhere. So where are we going to get help? Can we get help from the defense? No, they let up 26 to the Chargers, who maybe are a good team, but I'm not sold on it. But I think Bryce is a guy that comes from he comes from a pretty good background. Obviously, he had a lot of success in high school. He has a lot of success in college. You feel like you're on top of the world, and then, hey, welcome to the NFL. Things aren't going your way. What am I going to do? Am I going to curl up in a little shell? Am I going to, quit? Or am I going to find a solution? So I think, I hope Carolina sticks with him and lets him, rock out and maybe find some of that confidence. But like you said, that stuff can disappear quick. And the moment it disappears, it's over for everybody.
Thielen lost his mind yesterday, too.
What happened?
I think he had one of those
sideline bits.
He had one of those arm up in the air, I'm wide open for 6 type of moments. And Bright, he just didn't look his way. And it must have been a third down or something, because he just immediately walks steaming. You could tell he wanted to body slam his helmet on the turf. Yeah. Thielen was pissed off at his guy yesterday.
And you know who else had one of those moments yesterday? And he's coming to town Sunday. Chris Boyd.
Oh, wow.
For the Houston Texans. Yeah. Okay, he's a special teams, some would say whiz, for the Texans. And he caught a stray in the Zimmer story, too, by the way. Yeah, his name came up, and Zimmer's like, he had more special teams penalties than anybody I've ever seen. Well, he had one again yesterday.
And Boyd was like, I'm one of the only people that was defending you. I loved you, Zim.
Yeah, he caught a stray. Somebody caught a stray yesterday from Alvin Kamara and didn't get up from it. But anyway... So with
Boyd.
Boyd, there was a penalty called on him that nullified a good play for the Texans, and helmet, it might have exploded. I mean, took his helmet off on the sideline, bam, just through.
Wow.
So here comes with a Sunday ballyhooed because of the return of Stephon Diggs and Danielle Hunter. With Blake Cashman and Jonathan Grenard going against their former teams.
Wow.
Let's not forget Chris Boyd against his former team.
I always love that one.
Let's not forget that one he's coming back. He's going to be trying to kill somebody there as a gunner on the
I forget who it was, and I don't know if he's a factor on their defense, but a member of the Texans threw a haymaker and hit an opposing player, last night.
Wow.
But it wasn't called. There was some sort of sideline fracas, and he just went to swinging. So I hope it was Danielle Hunter or something like that. So we don't have to face him. I don't remember who it was, though.
What if you don't have to worry about him this Sunday?
Maybe we don't have to worry.
We're checking every box.
I love it.
It's balanced.
I love it.
Darrisaw's putting Burns and Thibodeau on one combined tackle. Now Bosa got him a couple of times, and Sam got rid of one, but he got sacked on 2 overall. But the boxes are being checked and closing here, man. It's balance, and you being an athlete, balance is important. We got offense. Okay, this is happening. Defense, this is happening. Special teams, we're out here blocking punts.
Yeah.
So when you can have it like that, as long as you can have it like that while staying healthy, those are what the best teams do, right?
Yeah, and I think this is a Vikings team that's, I think they're disciplined in what they want to do from the coaching staff all the way down. Obviously, when you talk about Danielle coming back to town, he's a force, 1.5 sacks last night, 2 tackles for loss. This is a guy that plays at a high level, and he knows our system really well. So I think he's probably going to be in the ear of all his teammates this week and telling them, they're doing this. This is the Tampa route there. This is the cover 2, whatever it may be. So I think you got to trust what we got, and I think that's going to be enough.
My man, at Parker Fox 24. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, PA. Love you.
Pete Fox, love you too. Around the corner, we're going to replay the impeccable montage that Nordo did to start the show. All he does is win, 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 no matter what. Stick around. In fact, get Billy, Johnny, Christy, Susie, Tamika, and Antoine to all gather around radios so they can hear this awesome montage off the Vikings victory. Then after that, we have the necessary evil, the Sultan of Smog. He joins about 15 minutes from now for the weekly border battle, and his juicy squad pulled a bit of an upset, beating the Indianapolis Colts. We'll be right back. Thank you, Rose Bowl Island. It's like at Hater Report or something sent me a tweet with the Thielen The Thielen moment on the corner route. Wow. Yeah, it was an outbreaking corner route to the right where Thielen would have caught it and been gone for a touchdown from a quarterback and Bryce Young, who has not thrown a touchdown in like 4 consecutive games and like 136 consecutive passes. And, yes, he melted down on the sideline, wanted to throw his helmet, and that just typifies how things are down Charlotte way. But, that's them and, we're us. We don't have that situation here. Kevin O'Connell joins 9 to noon at 11 a.m. tomorrow. We will be at Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center for the weekly KOC. Yeah, he has a press conference today too, and there he undoubtedly will talk about the currency or the recency of Justin Jefferson and what transpired yesterday. Now, I don't know if I heard this on Fan Line or if I saw it somewhere on social media or whatever, but it sounded like it was a deep Charlie horse, something akin
quad contusion.
Yeah, something akin to that.
That was what he said during his presser.
Oh, JJ said it.
So Kevin O'Connell yesterday. Mm-hmm. So in terms of. And he kind of, I think I don't want to say he brushed it off. Like that can be a pain and can, kind of limit him throughout the week. But just kind of the idea he's going to get treatment and he should be all right. And then he kind of downplayed Dallas Turner's injury as well. He was at he is going to speak today, as you said.
Yeah.
So, but it was something, he felt something in his knee and he didn't want to speak out of turn, but that it didn't sound like it was very serious.
Yeah.
So looking forward to an update on Dallas as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we have him on tomorrow.
Yeah, we have their Vox, Mark Vandermeer, right out of the gate tomorrow at 9 o'clock. I'm joining his Texans radio bit. I mean, they're so fired up over this Texans bit. I mean, usually you got a 24-hour rule here. Let's let old people's voices rest. Let's let players and or coaches get their breath and stuff like that, and then we'll head into the week.
Yeah.
I mean, I woke up to a text this morning that he must have sent a Texans text at 2 a.m.
He couldn't wait.
Saying, Can you come on the Texans radio show today at like 10 a.m.? I'm like, no, we're doing 9 to noon. Okay, well, how about taping today at 1, 1:30, 2, 2:30, 3, 3, or 3:30? I mean, he laid out a bunch. Said, yeah, we'll do it today at 1.
Okay.
So we're taping today at 1. But I just can't remember the last time an adversary contacted me that fast to join their radio or TV production because they're so excited over their undefeated bit.
Well, that's the key. How long has he been voxing? I think he's their only vox in franchise history. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think he's a 23.
So how many years have the national football loving world been this hot on the Houston Texans?
Yeah, but he had his
new coach. The quarterback looks terrific.
Yeah.
Nico Collins. Who the hell is Nico Collins? Oh yeah. He's an absolute revelation for them.
Holy cow.
I mean, that everything in Houston right now is going the right way for them. So I'm excited to see the Vikings hand them their first loss.
What you were saying?
Oh, just real quick.
Because Jefferson, when I heard you say that or somebody say it on Fan Line, deep Charlie horse with the quad contusion.
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing that came to my mind, JJ ain't missing the Diggs game.
I always love
that one. That's it. I mean,
he'll be just fine.
Amputation will be required for him to miss the Diggs game.
I always love that one.
Flores ain't missing the Diggs game either.
No,
I always love that one.
It's going to be good.
I just got you off the charts excited on a Monday for a Sunday.
I'm pretty pumped. And I'm pumped to see KO tomorrow because I'm just kind of this is 2 weeks in a row now. That whether it was the motion by Jefferson that led to a mostly wide open Jalen Naylor, and then that little play yesterday that kind of he motions in 2 different times, and then ultimately Charvarius Ward sitting there going, I don't know how to handle this. I think he's a blocker, and he just skates right by the defense, and Charvarius is turning his head around going, oh my God, I just bleeped up as Naylor's wide open for a TD. That's 2 weeks in a row. It looks like a super simple play, but KO just schemed the perfect play in the perfect spot.
The Sultan of Smug, L.
I can't wait.
All right, we're making an executive controversial decision here in the Love Covenant. That last break was a little longer than usual. Plus,
he thinks he's being held down because of their victory against the Colts yesterday.
Plus, yours truly with the clock management up to what Nordo's referencing was bad. So David Sinekin with the border battle will take place tomorrow following the Texans Vox. Mark Vandermeer joining us at 9. So we'll go Vox into Sultan of Smug, into Vikes Bites with pressure points, into Gessling, News du Nord, Kevin O'Connell, then replay Kevin O'Connell's post-game press conference from the victory against San Francisco. After we have Kevin O'Connell for 30 minutes, then we'll replay his Monday press conference, and the whole final hour is KOC. And it'd be the bomb. Thank you for listening. Here comes Nordo with that wrap on the show.
Thanks to Casey's for bringing you the wraps. Casey's, Elite Pizza, Food and Fuel Rewards. Stop into a Casey's today. We roofs don't need interior designers, just big TVs and our comfy recliners. But it's the Giants all week, said the Niners and the Whiners. How about now? We beat the Niners. They got Purdy and Kittle and Debo. Defense tying you in knots like a wee below. Heavily favored, little did they know it was over before it started thanks to B-Flow. Patrick Jones had a 2-sack day, and Cashman's aptly named as he made them pay. Metellus entered the chat with plenty to say, had Shanahan scowling all the way home to the Bay. And tomorrow, our engines are full revving at TCO with KO joining 11. Turner tweaked his knee, JJ's got a Charlie, but we're listening to Three Little Birds by Bob Marley.
That's what this team is all about, defense and breaking hard.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.